today what I want to talk about is everybody always has a lot of questions or reasons why they can't do stuff, which is natural. And I want to tell you a little bit about what happened to me when I went bankrupt. It was very hard because it wasn't the first time I failed in life, but I really failed big. I was over leveraged. I had car payments. I had, just credit cards, and I was running everything, and just the economy collapsed, and I had millions of dollars in equity disappear overnight. I had commercial buildings, people quit paying me and I'd personally guaranteed them, and it was just brutal. But at the time, I mean, it was so brutal. I remember doing a stress test, and my stress test, I had absolutely, it was over 800, and you start to have mental breakdowns at 400. And I never felt stressed really though. And one of my friends asked me, he said, Nate, how are you able to deal with all this? And I thought about it, man. And I said, I didn't know. And I thought about it, and I said, well, before, what I was concerned about was getting, caught by the feds and doing 20 years in prison. So if that was the perspective I was comparing it to, then going through bankruptcy wasn't all that bad. So I was able to still say, what are the solutions? And so there was like the amount of stress I can deal with is just infinite. Like it because it there's just not a lot that you can do to break somebody. If you can go through all that, you can't break, then what's gonna break you? Ultimately you're gonna lose loved ones, and that is the one thing that you can't predict when it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. And if that doesn't happen to you, then that means you were one of the ones who got lost. So ultimately, try to live your life in reverse. Think about yourself being on your deathbed and what regrets you may have had. And that's why a big part of what we want to teach you is about motivation. So I want to tell you guys, I'm going to step back to 2012. And I was in the midst of bankruptcy, chapter 7. I was losing everything. I was fighting with these banks to try to help them negotiate. And most of the banks were very helpful. And there was one bank that was really not helpful. And I won't disclose the name of that bank, but I don't bank with them today, but I would, if the opportunity presented itself. But the banks are forgiving because a lot of the banks knew that I worked things out with them. I called them up. I brought in people to help buy the mortgages. I even brought in private investors to buy mortgages. I brought people to buy my properties and did what was called like, just worked it out with them. So they didn't have to go through the foreclosure process with me because I didn't just hide from them. I stood up and said, how can we work this out, guys? Here's the situation. And even with my investors, man, I called them and told them I was going to have to do bankruptcy. But I explained to them, I said, look, you guys are protected. You're good. I'm not going to miss a single payment to you. Never miss a single payment, and made all of them whole. To this day, they're all paid off except for one investor. It was a good friend of mine. He passed, and his wife still has, they had a couple million with me, and I've got them all paid off. I think they got like 100,000 or something. It's not very much, maybe 200,000. And so, there's just push through in life, figure out a way. So I'm going to tell you what I did. I came out of bankruptcy in 2013. And by 2015, I had created $35,000 a month in passive income. I had enough money to retire. And keep in mind, guys, $35,000 a month in real estate passive income is $420,000 a year. You're not paying taxes on it. And if you want to understand why, I want you to go back to Yono Weiss, the video that we posted yesterday. It'll show you why. One of the greatest advantages you can get in real estate is, if you're a real estate professional, is paper write-offs, paper losses that you borrowed the money from the bank to spend. And that money that you spend, if you allocate it correctly, is a write-off year one. And so I wanted to just share with you guys, when I went bankrupt, how I was able to go in 2 years. My credit was like 400. I didn't have any money. Couldn't go to any banks. But I said, you know what I'm good at? I'm really good at putting deals together. I know how to find deals. And I am a beast when it comes to construction management, bridging the gap between the construction managers, the leasing team. So what I did was I went up and I found people who had strengths that were not my strengths, or they had good credit. That was not my strength at the time. Now my credit's pretty good. They had money, which I could still get money because I knew how to syndicate capital and put deals together. Plus, like I said, I didn't run from my investors. So my investors were still saying, Nate, what do you need? Um, and I mean, because one of them said, like, look, dude, I saw the worst of the worst. Like, you could have easily just signed a piece of paper and walked away. And they were like, you did not. Um, and that means more to me than anything, because I know that if you stood by me and the investments through this, that we can make it through anything. That's important. That's integrity. And that's something that I'm not going to say I can teach you. That's something that you just have to have. And I tell you guys, man, I was a drug dealer, but look, man, I still had integrity. And I know that's hard to believe, man. And I was a drug dealer out of necessities to survive. I want to give you guys what I was able to do, because a lot of you guys say, what would you do if your credit was bad? I would find somebody that had credit. I would start working on my credit. The day I came out of bankruptcy, I started working on my credit. Within 3 years, I still had massive losses from my bankruptcy that the trustee, when you go through bankruptcy, you have all these losses, and I was able to keep them. So I was able, when you keep them, you get to carry them forward until you use them. So I was able to, with a negative $359,000 tax return and a negative, I think it was $329,000 tax return, still qualify for a $750,000 mortgage, which that was 3 years, less than right around 3 years coming out of bankruptcy. And I was able to get a conforming loan. I don't know how I did it, but I had a great buddy of mine, loan officer in John Saylor. He's freaking awesome. And I went through Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo, man, thank you, man. I appreciate that, man, because I did have a building that was with Wells Fargo, and they completely charged it off. And I ended up getting that building back for free out of the bankruptcy. They wiped the mortgage and everything out, guys. And that's kind of what, when you go through bankruptcy, it's not always all the way bad. It's you're going to make the best out of a bad situation. But ultimately, the deals were great back then, man. I was picking up apartment buildings for 3, 4, 5,000 a unit. These are units now that are worth 50,000 a unit. Now we had to renovate those, but we got one that just went live either today or yesterday into the market. We paid $1,200,000. We paid $1 million for the 97 units, which, do the math. And this was in 2013, and got the owner to finance. And then a year and a half out, we stabilized asset, pulled the cash out. And guys, I was able to do this while I was coming out of bankruptcy. My stuff was shot. So really, ultimately, what I'm telling you is it's all about solutions, finding the right partners, knowing what your skill set is. And if you don't have part or all of it, man, you better be really good at what you do. And I was never lazy, man. I would just work tirelessly, and my wife, she supported me just and allowed me. And you know, at times I know she was, here's how you know, man. My wife went like a couple months without getting her nails done one time. And I was just like, didn't have the money even for that, man. But that, how do you feel as a man when you can't do that? And she came and she was like, what do you need me to get a job? And I was like, nah, man, that wasn't our agreement. Like, you're gonna raise the kids. You're gonna raise our kid. I'm gonna do this. I'm a man. I'm gonna get this done. So I'm not saying that, that's everybody, but that was just how I felt. Okay. So don't take that the wrong way. But I just felt like, man, that's not gonna happen. That was my determination. That was my why. So you got to find your why. So ultimately it was finding everything. Every day I would sit there. Okay, what problem do I have? Well, I don't have no credit. Can't get the deal done. Okay, who can I bring in that has credit to partner with? Don't have any money. Okay, who can I bring in to partner with? What do I have? Well, I'm great at management. I'm great at leadership. I'm great at, find your strengths and then bring in other people to compensate for your weakness. Bring them in as equity partners. And you can do it no matter what your circumstances are. If you can believe and you can identify what your strengths are. If you don't have any strengths, you have to develop some. So one of the things that I told Matt I wanted to do was, and I think they should do this in school, but they don't. Where's our? Let me go through here. I just wanted to bring up this on an online course. There was a list of things that we wanted you guys to do here. Mindset quiz. We're gonna have a link in there for that, or actual quiz, personality test, and a strength and weakness test. Why is this so important? Because then you're gonna know what you're naturally good at. You know, it's like if you're really good at throwing a ball, being accurate, but they never put you in as a quarterback. I mean, you'll miss out on what life has for you. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, Nate Barger on YouTube, and hit the bell, and you'll be notified on any new videos that come out.